Coming to you live from the willitforge studios in a blacked out apartment hidden somewhere in Michigan. I am willitforge, and this is the Watching Paint Dry show. For those of you that have noticed the shill going out, yes, we have added. I hang my head in shame on this one. We have added Twitch to the repertoire there. Going down to the other side, some of the folks that I know and trust have been most positive in regards to Twitch and how it does for live streams. Right now, I'm nowhere close to any form of partner agreement there. So, unless and until I am bound to a full-blown agreement as far as exclusivity on streams, I will throw it at multiple channels and let that come back to me on the other side. We are just finishing up a few of our setup details. I'm gonna have to play around with Twitch a little later and see what I can get as far as popping the chat out, because things aren't quite lining up right for me. It is going to be interesting to watch 3 channels as far as chat, just about hitting the point of getting some kind of bot in play just to consolidate the chat some. I don't even think, trying to look at Restream, I'm not even sure I've got something under Restream that'll give me that, though in theory there is. We'll find out. We're learning as we go along. Hello to Swirl, and glad to see you as always. Some of you know, say anyone else out there knows that Monkey has a stargazer in his corner, constantly being a promoter and friend there. Swirl is kind of my version, and Swirl does have her own channel. She is posting regular videos. They're relatively short, easy to digest, and I have found them to be compelling, actually, for just throw the stream on and throw the channel on and let it watch. I have not been through all the videos yet, but has a couple different things going over there, a couple of games on the Switch, doing this daily Yahtzee thing, which is just playing out one game of solo Yahtzee with the scorecard and seeing what score can come up. I was like, it's tempting to get into doing that myself, but I'm not here to steal somebody else's thunder. Swirl does really... Okay, I'll admit, I'm hooked. I haven't gotten through all the videos yet, but I am going, just watching them play. Actually had that superseding part of Scribe Light's TED Excellence today, and if you've ever seen Scribe's TEDx streams, you would understand why I might appreciate a game of Yahtzee more than being abused that way. And I think I do have all of my shills out. For some reason, not everything is loading up. There's the last piece loading up the way that it's supposed to, kind of, maybe. Like I said, I am going to try and keep an eye on 3 different chats. So if I'm missing comments on one of them, please let me know. And we have been playing around with... Here we go. Playing around with these porcelain tiles as coasters with acrylic paints, and there's been some matte paint on there for the background, and then working with some metallics. There'll be details added in non-glitter, non-metallics too, but we're pushing for impact, of course, first, and you're getting some idea, some of them, though some of them still have a lot of work to be done. We're going to be adding a lot of video detail today. Well, it's going to be trying to. I have faked one of the things I talked about in the last art video, and I haven't moved all of my power ports and cords yet. Struggling to keep up with 2 chats. Yeah, that's where it's getting challenging on my world, and where I might have to look at some kind of a restream/chat bot to keep things lined up for me, where I can kind of keep an eye on all of them together. Fingers crossed, learning process. If I ever say, well, once I get Potato Clock replaced, I'm going to try and set up with a couple of, I've got like my work area here. I've got one monitor just get my hand on right over there, and then one monitor farther back from that, left of that. So I have to turn to my left to see the one monitor. Once I get Potato Clock replaced, I'm going to look at some options for getting it where I can have the one monitor to my left and like one above it, maybe. If I can figure out a way to mount that is not susceptible to the cats, and double my immediate left references without having to turn farther to the left, which is where I tend to keep the music. Well, right now the Twitch chat is over there too. But we are going to be picking up these pictures. I have some of my matte and metallic acrylics over here. I've got the big batch of metallic acrylics over here. I will at some point put in the description or something a link to those on Amazon, if I can remember that, because it'll be real convenient for anyone else who says, hey, I like that. What if I, how would I go about? Well, here's your start. It's this resource here. Oh, and see, this is where we get the paint does not, and there's the reason why I seal these with a multiple levels of a clear coat, is because the paint does not stick real well to the tile as far as adhesions. So any kind of abrasion and everything tends to flake it off until it gets sealed in, protected. I could probably get around that one way by just taking a sander to the tiles and scuffing them up really well, but I tend to be a bit stubborn, we could say. So, what is it, buddy? You got food, you got water, you got nip. Oh, I see. Sister's sitting in your spot. Well, you'll just have to cope. So we will continue on with these. Now, I moved the light over to the right side here. You can see the base of the lamp. So when I get in close, and my right-handedness is not going to obstruct the light so much. I haven't got all the cords worked out for that yet, but I was able to daisy chain a pair of power strips together to give me a long enough for the moment. And my other preparations, of course, my brushes, the paints, decent light, my workspace, water to dip the brushes and wash them out, some paper towels. I could probably use a rag and wash it too, but some paper towels for blotting the brushes out. And some Pepsi Zero Sugar, some coffee, and a glass of wine, because we need to stay moisturized, hydrated, and relaxed, right? And energized. Energy is good when you're doing something like this. Definitely want to keep the energy going. I know I'm not sounding particularly energetic at the moment. I assure you we will get there. Just realized I don't think in all my preparations, I don't have a clean tray for the paints that I'm going to be dropping in from these bottles, because these containers have a wide opening, so it's easy just to dip a brush in there. But for these bottles and for mixing paints and everything, need something to do it on, and I've got a package of trays that I use for that. Usually one tray gets used for 2, 3, 4 streams, but eventually you get to the point where it's got too much paint on it. You have issues with it, mixing dry paint with the wet paints, or mixing colors the way you don't want to mix, and you have to get fresher on that. So let me get some tunes going. I will real quickly grab a tray, and then we will get into the painting. Do that because I was quite engaged with y'all a couple weeks ago on the art, and I realized I did not get much of any music into the last art stream because I was too busy talking to everybody. But right now we seem to be a little light on engagement as far as not a lot of people tuned in yet, and more lurking than talking, so we'll throw some of our standard stream music in and go from there. Sticking to my standards of Peter Howlands and I can't talk, I swear. Yes, I heard that reference on the Ken Talk in the one video swirl. I just love that. But keeping with the Peter Howlands and the Straight No Chaser themes in the music, just because I'm good at either muting or legally defending those based on the open air concerts, so the open concert policy of Straight No Chaser being record and share all you want, and the agreement that I have with Peter Howlands. So a mix of the two. If we're light on chatters, we'll get the singing, of course. And we're halfway through January, so we're definitely out of the Christmas music. Yet I do see you over on Twitch in the chat. I do not see a lot of notification yet as far as following and everything, but this is literally my first ever streaming to Twitch, so there's a learning curve. And Hero Jatgunsky over on D Live may have missed the announcement. I am now on Twitch too. Yes, I know, hang my head in shame, but Monkey's a bad influence on me. And just grabbing a playlist real quickly. Twitch stinks. I gotta tell you, it makes it really easy for the live streaming. So as critical as I've been right now, it's one more platform for an audience. I'm not expecting partner monetization with the fact that I don't stream every day and all of that. But get a crowd. I'm doing this for the fun, but having the audience doesn't hurt. Yeah, I'll throw that one in there. Let's get a copy claim by Kansas. Why not? Get copy claimed by Disney. And go out there, reach all the different directions, right? I'm going to throw in a couple that I have not played on stream before, and I do not remember if I actually like the performances or not. We'll find out. Yes, and a few seconds of silence playing classics by Marcel Marceau. Okay, I get the music started. I will grab a tray, and then we will get to some painting. And we're just starting with real quickly is reinforcing just the base colors that we put on a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to be really naughty with this one because I already made a slight mistake that I need to try and rectify a little bit. And if you say any person is subnormal in the audience would be like, recta what? Just made a slight mistake that I need to clean up a tad bit. But once we got this reinforcement of this base coat, we're going to start adding some secondary and tertiary colors to both the backgroundscape and the celestial bodies, you could say, in our paintings. Just a couple of spots where we're thin on the black near the edges, and that rubbing that I mentioned. I could still take a damp thumb and in a single swipe get down to bare porcelain. Just adds to the challenge of working with this medium. Ironically, I don't actually mind the challenge, but I do like a good clean result.
Shadows makes girls sing using way too much vibrato. Is he there to hurt her or be her vocal teacher? And why does it always happen late at night? How did this ever seem alright? Causes me agony, not to mention my allergy from these cats all around. Yes, it's misery, men and women dressed up as cats. Wish these memories would fade away. Hey, look, they're here to see the show. They don't know what they are in for. I bet they won't stay. They have a season ticket plan, so they just see every musical that comes their way. No clue. It's from the South Park guys. How long after it starts before they just get up and leave? There they go. This will be really fun to watch. Really fun. Wait till they hear the vulgar language, see the look upon their face. 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 The look of horror. Horror. Hello to I wanna be in the room where it happens, the room where it happens. I wanna be in the room where it happens, the room where it happens. I wanna be I wanna be where it happens, the room where it happens. I wanna be in the room where it happens. A pair of tickets is the greatest prize. Open up your wallet and analyze. Do I have the funds to pay? Even offering my soul to trade away. A pair of tickets in my checkout card, but the price took the trees fall apart. Good luck going where it happened. I've got to be in the room where it happened. I want to be in the room where it happened. I've got to be in the room where it happened. Help a brother out. They got black people in the show. I wanna be in the room where it happened. Cha-ching. Another day across our country. Instead of fighting, we just dance and sing. I don't think that helps anyone, but obviously it's way more fun to play, right? I abruptly steal this song and try to make it all about me. But I'm not one has ever learned to use a gun will lose this war, but we'll be sure to nail this choreography. One more bow for Broadway, one day more.
And our planet that has the worst tidal situation in the universe, with two moons of differing shape and mass, presumably on different orbits, at different rates, say possibly the same rate, possibly different rates. Otherwise, they would run into each other, which would be likewise catastrophic to tides. And as is suggested by this much blue, it is likely to be a predominantly water planet, not dissimilar to our own in that regards. If a bit harder to have beachfront property, you could say. I thought you said it was oceanfront property. It is. The tides here go 15 miles inland. Clean up those where I see the paint a little bit scraped as I'm doing this, because I want that painted when I get into the adding more colors. Trying to be careful, though I don't really see a huge way around painting myself a little bit with this. Just a matter of grabbing the tiles and some of the paint stuff. You end up with paint on your hands. Actually showed some of my some pictures of my recent stuff, including those Christmas tiles, and the picture, I think I shared the picture. I have not done the consolidate and post the video yet, of a panda picture that I painted for nephew unit, who panda's his favorite animal, and got some really good feedback from somebody who actually graduated from art school and is quite good at it. So, like, never watch me paint. However, I do appreciate the good feedback. And serious, if you know any artists out there, only direct them to my stream if you want to send them into major conniptions, mental breaks, stuff like that, because I am sure I'm doing all kinds of things wrong from the classical perspective. But I'm also seeing some really cool things. I don't think the camera can pick up all the detail. You can see some of it. You can see some of the texturing just with the single color. So what I'm going to get with the texturing and then adding some more colors to it, I think is going to be pretty spectacular. That's one of my defenses. My other defense is I don't care about classical art education as far as regards to me. You've come far enough just by convincing me to give up my philosophy of the past 3 decades, give or take a couple years, that I can't do art. And what am I doing now? I'm painting stuff on YouTube in a live stream. And the biggest regret I have with that is pondering where I would be now with some of these things if I started doing this kind of thing 35 years ago, 30 years ago.
When I am down and old my soul so weary. When troubles come and my heart burden be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be.
And making sure I check all three chats and see a lot of lurking out there right now, which is perfectly fine. We do not have our feelings hurt here by lurking. It does mean that you get more music and more of me singing. And I just assume that if you're lurking, that's what you want, because it's what you're going to get either way. Now, this one is one of the farthest from being done. And I did do some looking at pictures of nebula and interstellar clouds and the like. And the conclusion I reached is I can pull it off with this. I just have to this one's going to be a lot more involved as far as a lot more content added to it still, and also sorry, I still can talk. also adding a few extra effects to it. So this one is going to be its own evolution project to get to something that is somewhat recognizable and visually attractive. And oops, the phone beeps, which means two things. One, I need to find the phone. And two, decide if I have to silence it or not. It's like, always interesting when part of your audience has your actual cell phone number, which at least two members of my audience do. Well, that's two members of my current active audience. This one being I'm here just antisocial. So antisocial lurkers, welcome to. I'm antisocial as a rule. I'm not gonna say nay. But I am going to be gauche enough to accidentally slurp my wine on mic. So
in the quiet, misty morning, when the moon has gone to bed, when the sparrows stop their singing, and the sky is clear and red, when the summer ceased its gleaming, when the corn is past its prime, when adventure's lost its meaning, I'll be homeward bound in time. Bind me not to the pasture, chain me not to the plow. Set me free to find my calling, and I'll return to you somehow. If you find it's me you're missing, if you're hoping I'll return to your thoughts, I'll soon be listening, and in the road I'll stop and turn. Then the wind will set me racing as my journey nears its end, and the path I'll be retracing as I'm homeward bound again. Bind me not to the pasture, chain me not to the plow. Set me free to find my calling, and I'll return to you somehow. Bind me not to the pasture, chain me not to the plow. Set me free to find my calling, and I'll return to you somehow. In the quiet, misty morning, when the moon has gone to bed, when the sparrows stop their singing, and the sky lost its meaning. I'll be homeward bound in time.
Just trying to get another layer of paint on some of these spots. As I recall, this paint especially was one a little bit trickier to work with. Of course, I'm going to have to throw in some reviews to these paints online, as they, with the metallic portions, they are more given to separation and thickening, which means I probably should have stirred this element right here more before doing this part. And these metallics that I'm playing with right now, they go on reasonably well to the black matte, but then they create a very slick and glossy surface for when it comes to painting detail with them or on them later. So this is going to be interesting challenges as these tiles proceed. Another thing you might not have noticed, but this entire stream I have been working with just this one brush so far. So I'm going to have to mix it up soon, adding some of that detail I was thinking about. But it's always fun to throw a little twist in there, like, hey, this is all being done with this one brush, especially if it's like, this brush isn't necessarily the best brush for that particular kind of work. Yeah, that's the color that is right there. So I've added some accents around the edges even while doing this. One of the things that happens with adding these accents and some of the thicker application of the paint too is you get a texturing that adds character to it later. Listen to me channeling my Insta Bob Ross, or Rob Boss, as the case may be.
If you change your mind, I'm the first in line. Honey, I'm still free. Take a chance on me. If you need me, let me know. Gonna be around. If you got no place to go and you're feeling down.
If you're all alone when the pretty birds have flown, honey, I'm still free. Take a chance on me. Gonna do my very best and it ain't no lie. If you put me to the test, if you let me try, take a chance on me.
Take a chance on me.
That's all I got.
Well, if it says on your side that you're following Swirl, I am pretty confident that you're following. I don't haven't gotten all the detail on the way the Twitch stuff looks for the streamer side. And yes, I did actually in some of those I did run a line and a layer of wet paint over a line of wet paint. Probably easier to do with oils, but it can be done with acrylics, as I've demonstrated. And it gives you a nice texturing and a nice concentration to colors, and if you play with it another way, you get a blending of those colors. I'm not quite to the blending stage on that yet. So YouTube on your tablet, Twitch on your phone, and watching on your TV, you see that is a level of committedness and dedication there, and shows why Swirl has a wrench on my channel. And oh, oops, yes, I forgot one little detail over here on the Twitch side, which I will rectify in just a moment. There we go. Basically, Swirl gets moderator on any of my channels, unless and until I'm given reason not to, and I don't expect that to ever happen. I did see the Bob Ross. Yeah, I'm more of a Rob Boss, but yeah.
Baba yetu yetulie mbinguni yetu amina. Baba yetulie jina lako litukuzwe. Baba yetulie mbinguni yetu amina. Baba yetulie jina lako litukuzwe. Utupe leo chakula chetu tunachohitaji, utusamehe makosa yetu kama nasi tunavyowasamehe wale hutukosea, usitutie katika majaribu, lakini utuokoe na yule mwovu milele. unachohitaji utusamehe makosa yetu, hey. Kama nasi tunavyowasamehe waliotukosea, usitutie katika majaribu, lakini utuokoe na yule muovu milele. Baba yetu uliye, jina lako litukuzwe. Baba yetu uliye, jina lako litukuzwe.
Yes, it looks like all the cool people are over on YouTube right now, although I got one of the cool people over on Twitch as well. What can I say? I am branching out and expanding. You can see we're adding some green to this one. We're going to get some continental addition to it. Now, something to consider on this one, this planet does not have a moon showing. Now, that does not mean that there is no moon at all, but we could give it an entirely different backstory by doing the absence of a moon, meaning that the planet has no tidal mechanics at all, and the flow of water is entirely by gravity, hills, and Coriolis forces. This continent here has got a rather sizable lake. I'm just trying to make sure that the shaping of the coastlines and everything is not too regular. Will's brain is better at patterns and everything. Irregular shapes only matter in mathematical fractals and the like, so it's a little trickier there. I'm going to expand on some of the detail on this one before we move on. I ain't using Twitch, Jack. Nobody's saying you have to use Twitch. They got to do some real significant things for me to make me use them exclusively, but I've reached the point where I can't just completely discount and discard them anymore. I have to have some presence over there with the live streaming just to kind of match out. Now, let's see. We are going to say that the polar cap is actually right here. Make it like a Civ 5 or Civ 6 planet with some randomization. I guess the other pole would be kind of off. Off the run. We got a decent sized ice cap up there. We are going to say that there is, we may add some brown around it too. Let's say that there's some mountainous range right there with a bit of frost cap on it. Go full Bob Ross. Happy little mountains. Who these tiles for? Undetermined at this point. And since everybody involved is right here, after review of the contest run with the Christmas tiles, I have come to determine that I really should provide something to Jack, something to Swirl, and something to Brat. I will make some off-stream contact in regards to that if you are interested in collecting on that, and some of these tiles might end up being part of that. That said, there's still a lot undecided and undetermined about these specific tiles. A wall. A great wall of ice against the north. Well, it might be up here as the wall. No, this is not Westeros. Let's see, which color is this? I need something a little less metallic, so I'll have to come back to that because most of my non-metallic colors are well, out of reach that way. And I'll go for picking them up at one of my breaks if I take one. Will wall of tiles. I actually say I gotta be hanging other artworks first, including some artworks that I have made. Yes, I'm egotistical enough to hang my own artwork in my own apartment, so shoot me.
There are loved ones in the glory whose dear forms you often miss when you close your earthly story. Will you join them in their bliss? Will the circle be unbroken by and by? By and by is a better home awaiting in the sky, oh, in the sky. In the joyous days of childhood, all they told of wondrous love pointed to the dying Savior. Now they dwell with him above. Will the circle the sky, oh, in the sky. Hey, hold on.
And say these tiles might actually require like each one a written biography for the background and everything. Just occurred to me to basically take that southern coast there of the one continent and go with the notion that it is a volcanic coastline. And if you know the volcanic beaches in Hawaii, you've got black volcanic beaches. I figured we'll give it a massive black beach, and it's the notion of being volcanically active along this entire coastline there. Maybe that continent, that edge of it is still growing. We'll see. These tiles still have a lot of character to gain. Oh, I wish you could see some of the texture details on the camera, because I got like, aside from being, so it looks like this is just texture of green hills, maybe some like trees on it. You can, if you look at an angle, you can see because of the way the paint's layered on there, you can see character and you can see a bit of depth. And I got to do some expansion to all of this. I just have to figure out we're actually going to switch up to a much smaller brush, because one of the things we're going to do now is we're going to add some cloud cover to this one. At least I think that's going to amount to.
When you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all. I'm on your side. Oh, when times get rough and friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down like a Sail on, silver girl, sail on by. Your time has come to shine. All your dreams are on their way. See how they shine. Oh, if you need a friend, I'm sailing right behind, like a bridge over troubled water. I will ease your mind, like a bridge over troubled water. I will ease your mind. Ease your mind.
Hey, Holland family.
So we're giving a little bit of cloud cover with the notion of the clouds spelling the rotation and everything. Clearly, any polar capping would be off the tiles, so you could potentially have a broad swath of green there. It would require large bodies of water elsewhere, of course, even subterranean. And the like, and this, I guess, is going to be our solar source on it. So I'm mostly sticking. I might add some accent a little bit in another few coats, but I'm mostly sticking with layering on more of that red to give it that character. You get a surface that looks like it might have been captured mid-motion. And Satsy would say, "Dang, I'm starting to sound all bougie and such." But I really wish you could see some of the detail on the tiles that I can see, because the camera and the light don't do it justice. One of you likely is going to. Depth. Depth can be important in a picture. Depth can be very important in a picture. Now let's see. We got to start giving this one some character too. And of course, character for a planet like this, you're likely to see, with that much water, some form of vegetation. And if it is a chlorophyll-based vegetation, the way that we would have on Earth, that is going to be large portions of green. Now, adjustments I'm going to have to make in context for this is we're going to have to make it abundantly clear. I'll probably do that with wide beachfront, just how vicious the tides are on this one. You have to be either quite high up in elevation or well away from the coast. Which means I'm going to need more of a tan, brown, taupe, beige, bougie beige to give the coastline some feeling, because what you would end up with really severe tides is the tides would be, your beaches would be much wider, potentially, as you have depositing and drawing of sand from a much deeper incursion of water, you wouldn't have anything significant growing a visible distance from the coast. How visible? Well, moons those scale and depending on their proximity and everything, those could have beaches on every coast easily visible from space. Make that nice and thick too, because the other thing you would expect if you're dealing with moons giving the tides don't care about your feelings perspective would be that if you have a narrow isthmus, the tide would either completely tides would either completely wipe out the isthmus or at least take it down to nothing but sand. So when the green dries, we're going to have to add some more character with it. Now, let's see. Okay, good. Now I have to try... Oh, I do still have some black down on my tray already. This is probably going to take multiple tries to get it right. But when try and add some contrast to the moons just by adding a little bit of dry brushed black on to give it some graying, some additional texture. And I'll have to do some layering in that. Because we know even from our own moon that even a dead gray moon, a relatively dead gray moon, because we got tardigrades up there now, and I don't think anybody's ever figured out how to successfully kill off tardigrades in an environment, would have, say, has some texturing and color to it, even if it's just light on craters. And we're not messing with a question of context to the light source for shadow. What we'll do is, instead of painting towards the outcome, we take the outcome and work backwards. So the shadowing is evidence of the texture, not the other way around. I'm going to take and soften that a little bit with a damp brush over the dry brush stuff. You can see a little bit more of it with the shadow, but I'll try for some good close-ups of it later. Like when they're closer to done. Do a real quick time check. We're just an hour and a half in. We got some way. We got a ways we can go yet. Okay, I'll get just a little bit of, with that wet brush, I'm going to just a little bit of glitter off the moon. That I still want to say I don't want any question of the edges of the moons. They're not casting off particles or anything. We will add some stars to the sky as far as that goes. This is not going to be all dead space out there. There is going to be Starscape. Not Starscream, he's a different guy. And while I get the music paused, take this moment to do a little bit of shilling. Of course, my Evershill, unless they get off schedule or cancel for some reason. Lords of the Night on Ranting Monkey's channel tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, so you get your 987 Central and Mountain. You have Jack Gunsky tomorrow. I can't remember when Jack's new time is, so Jack, fill us in. I do know that we got it says a Sunburst birthday stream, and he managed to con, bribe, or con, bribe, cajole, or blackmail Scribe into showing up as well. 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, special time. Well, I guess that means I'm not going to bother with trying to fill in for Kyler working with my own gaming stream, which is something I was pondering, but I'm not going to try and get into a contest on that with Jack. His audience is bigger and meaner. That's going to take those tans and sandy color stuff. As long as I'm available, do I want to? Hey, if you need to fill a seat, I'll join. Especially, I mean, Sunburst and Scribe. I don't get that the opportunity to talk to Scribe directly that much, so. Maybe we can work closer towards indictments of Dog Cat Fox. Tomorrow it is. Okay. Well, so if I'm not going to fight him, join him, right? Now, first thing I'm going to try and do here, as we're expanding on this one, I might have to undo everything I'm doing as well, is going to take and dry brush over with the fan brush to do a little bit of blending of some of the lines. As I was looking at pictures of nebulas and such, there is tends to be blurring of a lot of the edges. So not destroying the colors, but a little bit of blending of some of them, some overlap. I might even take, I have got some acrylic airbrush thinner behind a table here. I might take and damp brush some of that onto a more dried element. The other thing I do is I'm going to try and get more of this white around the edges, because if I do that, I will end up with, I'll be able to fan it into, around some of the edges. Be able to fan it into the dark space, blending the edges. This one is the one that's definitely, I mean, I'm not a good one for visualization. Satsu is hilarious because if you mention something that is easy to visualize without description, or you describe something, boom, it's in his mind. He cannot help it. The poor man gets tortured by people for this, coming up with things that nobody would want to visualize just to put them in Satsu's mind. Me, I can't do that. I can conceptualize from a description, but I'm not good at interpreting mental pictures, interpreting descriptions into a truly visual representation in my brain. It just doesn't. Will's mind does not work like that. Even if it's something I have seen before, I have a hard time picturing in my brain as if it were a photograph. I get just glimpses of details and I can describe it pretty well, but it's not a visual interpretation as much as a descriptive. Do one more. Because this picture is going to be very much a getting some colors in and then blending them well. Hello to Kyler from work. Happy to see you stop in. Hope work is going well. Know that sometimes work is great because of the folks you work with. Sometimes it's terrible because of the folks you work with. And yeah, sometimes you need that candle break. I was just pondering if Will won the Publishers Clearinghouse, I'd end up with a new studio. This would be mounted the camera would be mounted a little bit higher, maybe a higher quality one. There would be a corner camera like down here pointing at one of the cat beds. And more light, a little more space to work with. That's me daydreaming and wishing. I don't expect to be that place anytime soon. I want a smoke break. I don't smoke, but shouldn't I get a break too? You absolutely should, Jack Gunsky. Demand your non-smoker smoke break. Demand. You deserve equal treatment. By your employer, possibly even preferential in that you don't have such a self-destructive habit. There, we got it. My current employer, they get around that by like, yeah, you can smoke. You smoke on your own time, which means you smoke on your regular breaks. Yeah, you smoke on your lunchtime. You don't take special time off of, out of your work day to get an extra cigarette in. It is at least it is at least fair and equal. The short bus rejects I work with are making it interesting. That definitely happens. The stories I could tell, although the folks that I have tales about are not typically my coworkers, as the people reaching out to us for assistance. Can we do this? Well, what about that? This is what it says. Well, no, we've got this. Well, this is what it says. No, you don't understand. We got this. Yeah, I do understand. This is what it says. And just realized that we had the other one. We added some cloud cover. This one, we do not have any cloud cover yet. Acrylic white. I'm going to have to wait because with these colors, actually, so as to not contrast with the present snow, ice caps, and mountain tops, that still have to expand out. I've got a color called, I think, Cotton Ball. It's not a pure white. I'm not exactly one of those people, but I do understand sometimes, and I want the color, I want the clouds to contrast more.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more. Once I rose above the noise and confusion, just to get a glimpse beyond this illusion. I was soaring ever higher, but I flew too high. Though my eyes could see, I still was a blind man. Though my mind could think, I still was a madman. I hear the voices when I'm dreaming. I can hear them say, you cry no more. Masquerading as a man with a reason. My charade is the event of the season. And if I claim to be a wise man, it surely means that I don't know. On a stormy sea of moving emotion, tossed about him like a ship on the ocean. For winds of fortune, but I hear the voices say, carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Let your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
Yeah, no hard feelings there right now, Squirrel. I expect that for a long time. The majority of the chat is going to be on the YouTube, and oh, you're entertaining over there on Twitch by yourself, but I totally understand. And talk to yourself. Talk to yourself enough. That's actually my main form of communication, and that is by design and intent. Is talking to myself. But yeah, totally understand, and I give you the wrench. I do not expect you to do any moderation anywhere that you're not. So if you're not sitting in Twitch, I don't expect you to do anything over there. I'm not completely unreasonable, just mostly unreasonable. Give me some credit. Talking to yourself isn't bad. It's when somebody responds that you should worry. Well, I talk to myself and I respond. I talk to my cats and they respond some of the time. Okay, this is hilarious because they are in each other's favorite spot. So Boo is curled up on the back of the other easy chair, and Wazowski is curled up and hanging over the edges of the cable box, and he's disgruntled, so he's facing away from me. I even gave you catnip. Well, cat's gonna cat, and these two are really good at that. Yeah, we are gonna add another island to this. Well, we're gonna add an island. It's gonna be right here. And when I get the other colors out, I'm gonna have to do some tans and browns to get you some beach colors and stuff. I'm thinking of throwing like the edge of a desert over here or something. They're an evolving picture, especially when you can't just create a picture in your mind and try to work from it. You end up with it doesn't just evolve in your mind, it evolves as you conceptualize it and start working on it, and things change. You say, oh, hey, let's do this a little bit different. And you end up with 1/8 of an inch of stacked paint over the whole thing. Not quite that bad, but it's I've had canvases that are more than a 16 thick on paint in the thickest areas, so. But it also gives you some texture and depth. Gives you a puff and luster. Is that's a reference that very few people would get. So no hard feelings to anybody that doesn't get that one. Look at the puff. Look at the luster. Luster and puff. Ah. Realized we're going to add some more to this ice cap. And then we are just going to add a mountain range down from there. Just a little bit more. Let's see. Get a vertical on these mountains. Happy little mountains are going to create a nice watershed. Which is where this lake will get it, I guess, is water running off the mountain. Feeds the lake. What projection is this? Well, for one thing, this is not Earth, so this is custom-made planet on the fly. Although I can see where this might be mistaken for Greenland at the right angle. But you have a few different aspects because you're having a volcanic south coast here, the Wilcator. One mountain range here, an ice cap up here with a mountain range running down, large bodies of water. I'm not convinced that this planet has a moon yet, so we don't have any decisions made as far as tides and the like. We got a planet with bad ones. The Wilcator. Isn't that an institute? If it isn't, it should be.
Oh, why you look so sad? The tears are in your eyes. Come on and come to me now.
Don't be ashamed to cry. Let me see you through. 'Cause I've seen the dark side too.
When the night falls on you, don't know what to do. Nothing you confess could make me love you less. I'll stand by you. I'll stand by you. Won't let nobody hurt you. I'll stand by you. So if you're mad, get mad. Don't hold it all inside. Come on and talk to me now.
Hey, what you got to hide? I get angry too. Well, I'm a lot like you.
When you're standing at the crossroads and don't know which path to choose, let me come along. 'Cause even if you're wrong,
I'll stand by you. I'll stand by you. Won't let nobody hurt you. I'll stand by you. Take me in into your darkest hour, and I'll never desert you. I'll stand by you. And when the night falls on you, baby, you're feeling all alone. You won't be on your own.
I'll stand by you. I'll stand by you. Won't let nobody hurt you. I'll stand by you. Take me in into your darkest hour, and I'll never desert you. I'll stand by you. I'll stand by you. Won't let nobody hurt you. I'll stand by you. Take me into your darkest hour, and I'll never desert you. I'll stand by you. I'll stand by you. Don't let nobody hurt you. I'll stand by you.
Okay, so I need a couple of constellation ideas. is to make this a little bit more softer and in some cases ethereal for the clouds, is taken brushing some water on first. And go from, say, and then add a little bit more color to it and soften some of the edging on that. 3 stars in an obtuse triangle. You're an obtuse triangle. Not saying no, just saying you're far too quiet versus the other streams. Yeah, sometimes gaps in the action or gaps in the singing. So yeah, I can see where that would get a little bit sometimes. Okay, so if we are playing with a few stars in this nightscape, 2 stars in the shape of a Japanese blossom tree. I think a Japanese blossom tree would take more than 2 stars. But now I'm getting a couple of ideas to go with. Do acrylics stay good in the container if you've never used them? Yes and no. They do. They will, if they are sealed away and not exposed to air, they will stay good for a very long time. The better the container, the better the sealing, the longer they will last. But they will eventually have some, depending on the paint, have some separation and thickening and drying and everything. So you'll hit a point where even if you don't use it, it's thickened beyond use and everything. And bottles like this, if you pour out a little bit onto a plate or a cup or a tray and seal it up again, you mix it real well every time you use it, they'll last a good long time. I mean, this bottle here is 5 years old and still good. But those smaller plastic cups, those go bad faster. Your only way to tell for certain is to pop the cup open, stick a toothpick in there and try and mix it up. So you get but I've got some of those where it's like those strips of plastic cups and everything, and those have gone bad the fastest on me. I've got most of the colors from those I just can't use anymore. But I've got like I said, I got some of these that are 5-6 years old. So a good bottle and a good seal, they take a while to go bad. And of course, you get the question of the better quality paint to start with, because not all acrylic paints are created equal. So the super cheap, lower quality ones are likely to go bad faster. On the other hand, like I said, this bottle is 5-6 years old, and that was from a dollar store. So yeah, probably need to break it open and try it out. You can definitely do, say, even if the paints in the kit are bad, you can go to a craft store. You can get color matching close to them. It's just a matter of, especially those little cups, if they're a few years old, they might not be good anymore. They might, you get kind of feel it out by trying.
I am a question to the world, not an answer to be heard, or a moment that's held in your arms. What do you think you'd ever say? I won't listen anyway. You don't know me, and I'll never be what you want me to be. Understand, I'm a boy, no, I'm a man. You can take me and throw me away. And how can you learn what's never shown? Yeah, you stand here on your own. They don't know me, 'cause I'm not here. And I want a moment to be real. Wanna touch things I don't feel. Wanna hold on and feel I belong. And how can the world want me to change? They're the ones that stay the same. They don't know me, 'cause I'm not here. And you see the things they never see. All you wanted, I can be. Now you know me, and I'm not afraid. And I wanna tell you who I am. Can you help me be a man? They can't break me as long as I know who I am. And I want a moment to be real. Wanna touch things I don't feel. Wanna hold on and feel I belong. And how can the world want me to change? They're the ones that stay the same. They can't see me, but I'm still here. They can't tell me who to be, 'cause I'm not what they see. Yeah, the world is just sleeping while I keep on dreaming for me. While I keep on dreaming on. And the words are just whispers and lies that I'll never believe. And I want a moment to be real. Wanna touch things I don't feel. Wanna hold on and feel I belong. And how can they say I never change? They're the ones that stay the same. I'm the one now, 'cause I'm still here. I'm the one, 'cause I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still here.
Trying to kind of bare bones it a little bit and cut back because constellations and everything. But here's our obtuse triangle constellation, also known as Jack Gunsky, and kind of a tree figure where you got the shape and that kind of branches out. I can't even draw stick figures. Try drawing bush figures instead. Random. I gotta get my sound pad working properly again, that's for sure. I drew a stick figure webcomic once. Yeah, that's my claim, is that I can almost draw convincing stick figures, which is true. I can draw almost convincing stick figures. And then kind of proceeding outwards from there. We're just going to kind of dot in some random stars into space from there. We just have to make sure that our constellations really stand out. Triangle's not very obtuse, but it is obtuse, so... Used to use sprites to make comics, now I'm planning on using Lego. Lego is a great resource for that, especially if you can even get into animating it with stop motion and the like. Depends on how much you want to do for that. But you can give a single character then a lot of depth of background and change of scenery and everything like that. I'm just a tad too OCD to get too far into something like that, I think. But here I am, painting wall tiles on a live stream, so what do I know? Just one really light star there. Yeah, a smattering of stars, but we can still see, if we're looking for it, we can see our tree, we can see our Jack Gunsky. Just photocomics, comics don't have patience to do stop motion. I can understand that. I've got software for animation and everything, and I have just not gotten into that. Movies are comparatively easy. Streams are comparatively easy. You get into doing some of those animations and stuff, and it's like, wow, this is a challenge. My hat's off to some of the people doing it. I have a few examples on your Discord. I am gonna have to check that out because I'm always curious and stuff like that. And leave this tile to breathe a little bit. It's not done, I don't think, but we want to give it some. Want to give them some time to dry as we're working on them. No, this wasn't the tile I wanted to pick up next. I wanted to pick up this one next. And you know, I really need to go grab my other colors and everything, so I'm gonna run a song with a quick break. Get the rest of my colors within reach of me and come back to it. So I will be right back.
All those days watching from the windows, all those years outside looking in, all that time never even knowing just how blind I've been. Now I'm here blinking
shining in the starlight. Now she's here, suddenly I know. If she's here, it's crystal clear. I'm where I'm meant to go. And at last I see the light, and it's like the fog has lifted. And at last I see the light, and it's like the sky is new, and it's warm and real and bright, and the world has somehow shifted. All at once, everything is different now that I see you. Now that I see you.
Hey Hollins family, thank you so much for watching this duet with my lovely wife Evan Hollins. I am so excited to let you know that she will be doing a version of this on her channel with me that will be all instruments. So if for whatever reason you don't like a cappella, then you should click over and watch that. It won't be up for probably about 4 or 5 days. So click through and subscribe to her so that you'll get notified. Otherwise, I did this song because you guys asked for it. As you can see, thank you so much for the recommendations. Keep those coming down below. And an enormous thanks to those of you at Patreon who are making this content happen. Lots more coming every 2 weeks. I can't wait to show you what we're coming up with next. It may or may not be coming from a movie called How to Train Your Dragon 2. I don't know. Just saying. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I will see you again real soon. Bye.
On my own, pretending he's beside me. All alone, I walk with him till morning. Without him, I feel his arms around me. And when I lose my way, I close my eyes, and he has found me. In the rain, the pavement shines like silver. All the lights are misty in the river. In the darkness, the trees are full of starlight, and all I see is him and me forever and forever.
Before we resume that song, obviously back. Hello to Faithless Zealot over on D Live, and the first song was, I think it's called "There Is Light," is from Tangled, and then we got a medley here from Les Mis. Now here's what I was saying about those little paint cups, random, because I do have these, and where they're all bundled together and everything. But if I take and open one of these, you see how it's like a pasty plug at the top, and down below now it's definitely thickened up, and that now taking and just sticking a toothpick in it, that's actually it's like pretty liquid still. So that might be something that mixing, just mixing it, or mixing it with a little bit of water, a little bit of acrylic airbrush thinner, might yield something that is still usable for a while. But I've got like 4 of these that came in one packet, and some of them are some of them are like really, really bad off. Now, with a little bit of time and effort and searching, I can get every single one of these in a bottle like this, either at a dollar store, at an art store, or Walmart, or something like that. And typically speaking, unless you're dealing with like a really premium name, or you're looking at a really premium example, like you get some of the metallics and the glitters are a little more expensive, you're typically looking at under $2 per bottle, all the way down to like a dollar store. You can get them for $1 a bottle if your dollar store has them. Dollar to I got a dollar store here that's had to adjust some of their prices, so some of them are like $1.29. But they're the bottles, the big bottles like this, bigger bottles, just not that expensive when it comes to it, and they definitely last longer. But it's, if you've got a strip like this, there's definitely no harm in checking it out, because a little extra time doesn't automatically mean that they're bad, but the older they are, the longer they're in there, the more likely it is to just kind of like aged out or thickened out beyond usefulness. Where's my bottle? Oh, I know it's in here somewhere. Did you move it, kittens? Here it is. That said, I'm going to try in some of those. I got this at Amazon, and it's just airbrush reducer and extender base, airbrush colors, water-based acrylic airbrush reducer and extender. So it's basically a water-based thinner for acrylic paints. And I got it because of certain paints that weren't necessarily drying, but they were thicker than I wanted to mess with, and I was hoping to be able to get them a little thinner and a little more flowing for some of the projects that I wanted to do. Oils, as far as I know, oils, if they're sealed up, those can last for a very long time. I don't think I've ever seen an oil paint go bad. I'm sure it could happen, but you'd have to ask like a real artsy kind of artist that. But right, even once your oil paint is no longer, once you've painted with it, and it smells when you're painting with an oil paint, even once it's no longer off-gassing, it typically tends to take a good while to dry after that. So you end up with oils, as long as they flow, I'd expect them to be good. Wait, you're not a real artist? Bingo. Well, there's some debate for that. I still don't consider myself a real artist, but I at least consider myself capable of making some art. How do you balance that tension? I don't. I let other people try and figure it out. I have had, let's see, 3 art classes, some 35 to 40 years ago. So, yeah, I don't think I've had a single art class since I was 7. So, yeah, tubes, oil tubes, and then starter kits, they tend to be small. What you do, if you can squeeze the tube. I've got these are watercolors, but this would be a similar content. This is a tube of watercolor paint in more of a paste form, similar to the texture of an oil paint. If you can go like this and it dents and flows a little bit, your oil paint is probably still good. Be careful doing that, though, because that's like a soft metal tube, and it's real easy to split it. Okay. Random American, I will know you here as well. You're not an annoyance yet. I mean, this isn't like the planned super chat interruptions of Scribe or anything like that. Surprisingly, I enjoyed the talking, and it's nice having a crowd. So. Now for the silly Will moment, I took a pause to go look for some paints, like a whole bunch more tubes of this with different colors, and I am going to make myself an organizer of sorts for these one way or another. Will gets fed up. But I did that pause with the music to go and get these, not realizing that I actually did have them right next to me. So I did not have to go anywhere to get them. So I went and refreshed one of my waters and got a quick drink and stretched my legs, which is good midstream because it helps settle down cripple stiffness. Note that is not specifically a challenge. I am not telling you that you're not capable of being an annoyance or anything like that. I am just just saying that so far you have not reached that level. Okay, if the acrylic is in the tubes like that too, and I know I got watercolors in tubes like that, I've got some acrylics in tubes like that. In fact, I'm pretty sure I got some of those acrylic tubes right over here. Dig. Yeah. Might be more trouble than it's worth to try and find them right this second. But yeah, if the acrylic pad is in the tube, you can do a similar squeeze test to it. If it's flowing in the tube, it is probably fine still. Here's one. So this is a acrylic tube, and you can see just how easily that flows. When they're a thicker, more of a paste texture, they have a bit more, they get really well sealed in there, and they're probably going to last longer than those little cups. They may even last longer than these bottles. I have not done a comparison on the two for that. All I can do is I can tell you is those cheap little cups are definitely the shortest shelf life. Okay, get my tray, restore the Les Mis music, and we're going to start trying to add a beach to this. And I got to break up this nice curve too, because that's definitely an artificial coastline, no matter what the planet. And we need to do and break it up a little bit too, add some significant beach and some in cuts, because remember, we got these two moons here that are going to be giving this a huge tidal landscape. I'm just going to start with some tan for that.
Oh, my friends, forgive me that I live and you are gone. There's a grief that can't be spoken. There's a pain goes on and on. Phantom faces at the window. Phantom shadows on the floor. Empty chairs at empty tables. Where my friends will meet no more. Oh, my friends, don't ask me what your sacrifice was
empty chairs at empty tables, where my friends will sing no more. Bring him peace, bring him joy. He is young, he is only a boy. You can take, you can give. Let him be, let him live. If I die, let me die. Let him live. Bring him home. Bring him home. Bring him
But no, who am I in there and everything? They just don't do as much justice to Les Mis as they could. Of course, to do Les Mis justice in a medley song like that, you'd have to make it like twice as long at least. And they avoided like the crass songs. The crass songs and the Krasenstein songs and what we're doing here is we're just saying that with the dual lunar profile and everything, the tides here would be extraordinarily bad. And so your coastline, depending on altitude, would be backed up sand, definitely to a level visible from space with the naked eye. Because again, when both of them are pulling the same direction at the same time, you'll get tides coming in 10, 15 feet easily, maybe more. So you get like West Coast surfing, only worse. I mean, this dual moon perspective, you could get surfing waves off of like Lake Michigan, I'm sure. So we're breaking up the regularity of the coastline, adding a little bit of sandbars. You can start seeing where altitude is higher and lower, because if you got a good sized hill right at the coast, it's not going to be a very thick sandy coastline as long as the hill is good against erosion. I'm trying to do like a bit of a tidal basin right here, which would have a touch of a regular shape to it. And you figure like all of your coastline would be greatly impacted by the tides. You'd have a you'd have a good sandbar running the whole way. There'd be like underwater sandbars a little ways out too. You wouldn't want to sail on this planet.
Hollins family, thank you so much for watching this one. If you
I actually want to make an ad, like right in here, some obvious elevation. But what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to lay down a couple of darker brown layers first to kind of show a little bit of a darker brown to a gray to show an elevation above the tree line, and then add a white cap to it. And before I mess with that on that, I want to let some of this color here dry because it is going to be it's getting kind of thick in there. And as I can demonstrate it, I can layer colors over top of colors. It's nice to let them dry once in a while. Oh, I just need to check out one thing here. And thank you, Swirl and Jack, for the retweets and sharing out the stream. It's always nice to have that. Gotta find the right information for what I'm trying to do here, because I'm pretty sure I can pull together a bit of a constellation right here. Unduly quiet for a moment. Let's see. This might be a trick to pull off, but I want to try it so bad. So let's see what we can do. Try and build this from the middle out.
enjoyed it.
Oh, helps if I don't rest on the space bar, skipping the music around. Let's get the next tune lined up.
In sleep he sang to me, in dreams he came, that voice which calls to me and speaks my name. And in this labyrinth,
Not gonna work.
where night is blind, the phantom of the opera is here, inside my mind.
No more talk of darkness. Forget these wide-eyed fears. I'm here. Nothing can harm you. My words will warm and calm you.
All I want is freedom, a world with no more night, and you always beside me, to hold me and to hide me.
Then say you'll share with me one love, one lifetime. Let me lead you from your solitude, and say you'll need me with you here beside you. Anywhere you go, let me go too.
Love me, that's all I ask of you.
Nighttime sharpens, heightens each sensation. Darkness stirs and wakes imagination.
experiment with a couple of different things here. One of the things I'm doing is trying to blur this a little more with actually using some of that thinner, although I do not know, I'm finding out how effective it is on a dried paint. This tile is one that's going to take a lot more work anyway, so I'm not worried about this effort being working great or for naught or anything. I've actually got like 3 materials here that are totally new to me, and I haven't done any research or anything, so it's basically a technique I'm trying to come up with on the fly. And really what I'm just hoping for mostly is a little bit of blending in some places, a little bit of a blurring of the edges on the white, and I think what I'm going to do is leave the thinner on there and try and apply a little bit of that to it to see how it looks. We're totally experimental territory here for me, so yeah, we'll find out as we go along. The goal of this one is kind of great color, but a little bit fuzzy detail. And this tile could easily see 8, 10, 12, 14. Oh, do I hear 24? Do I hear 32? Do I hear 64? Do I hear 128? It can see a lot of layers of paint on this one. Sorry, needed just a moment. Yeah, no sound. I got real quiet for a moment. I do apologize. Somebody selling, some bot selling followers over on Twitch and had to give it the boot after reporting it as a spam bot and everything. Minor maintenance things. Now, I do want to continue with some of the color in the thinner and everything, because I think as this dries, it's going to get some of the effect that I'm looking for. Sound. I'm here. Really, I'm here. Oh. Make sure that I got everything lined up. Forgot where I was going. I forgot where I was going from here. So, oh yeah, I know where I was going. Random American who was trying to link his Discord should try again.
Everything you're about to hear is made by the human voice and mouth. And some claps. Yeah.
Some nights I stay up, cashing in my bad luck. Some nights I call it. But I still wake up and I see your ghost. Oh Lord, I'm still not sure what I stand for. Oh, what do I stand for? What do I stand for? Most nights I don't know anymore. This is war. What are we waiting for? Why don't we break the rules already? I was never one to believe the hype. Save that for the black and white. I try twice as hard and I'm half as right. But here they come again to take my style. That's alright. I found a mother in my bed tonight. She stops my bones from wondering just who I am, who I am, who I am.
Sold my soul for this. Washed my hands of that for this. I miss my mom and dad for this. No. When I see stars, that's all they are. When I hear songs,
they sound like a swan, so come on. Well, that is it, guys. That is all. 5 minutes in and I'm bored again. 10 years of this, I'm not sure if anybody understands. This one is not for the folks at home. Sorry to leave, mama had to go. Who the hell wants to die alone? I'll try to feel the desert sun. Breaking for my sister, the call that she called love. But then I look into my nephew's eyes, then you wouldn't believe the most amazing things that can come from some terrible lies.
And this is getting some very interesting effect from painting over and through the acrylic airbrush thinner. And so I'm thinking I'm going to get some really nice result when this is all dried. So fingers crossed on it. I've been doing a mix of colors here, trying to get the original colors that were in there plus the ones I added today, but blended in more. And you know, a little bit of a trick with these paint containers here, taking and just aside from mixing them, taking them upside down and then tapping a few times out. I take the lid off. I've got usable paint right there. This is the color that has got the worst separation and thickening issue out of this group. What I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to try and slip a few drops of that airbrush thinner into it. And I don't think it's necessarily that it's like drying bed kind of thing. I think that this particular color and one or two of the other ones, the stuff that they have to add to make it, give it that metallic and everything, have a bit of a thickening impact. Yeah, and that's where I had some clumping and everything. It's got a nice flow to it now, so 1010 would recommend on that acrylic thinner for airbrushes if you're working with acrylic paints, because it will help you fight some of that thickening. We just take and put the cap on, tap it upside down a few times, tap it right side up, and I have on the lid paint that I can use without risking mixing back into the container. If I get the wrong color or bad stuff in here, I can rinse that out before I stick it back on my little paint pot. Yes, and thank you, Swirl. Yes, welcome again, lurkers. Talk if you want to, keep lurking if you don't. We're going to keep moving. We are coming up to 3 hours in. We're targeting around 3.5 because we don't want to bump up against Lords of the Night at 9 p.m. But we got another hour before them. I don't step on monkey's toes. I've had a couple of the Lords stop in on the stream a couple of times. Very nice and promotional that way. But I don't step on their toes. They don't step on mine. We're good that way.
Far
And yes, if we weren't having fun enough testing different things, I did just to kind of balance and even things out a little bit. I did just paint that whole tile with paint thinner on the finished portions of the picture. Yes, I am crazy, but we're hoping that it's crazy like a fox on this. Now I get to pause just a second because I know I've got another paper towel here somewhere. When you prepare for your stream and then you lose your preparations. Yeah. A couple napkins will work. Because one of the things with doing it between all the different colors and everything, the brushes are getting dipped a lot of times and need to be like blotted out and dried in. Also making sure that, of course, the paint is completely washed away. So I don't have a rag for this. I probably should get some shop towels just so it's like quick and dirty, easy to rewash rather than paper towels and stuff to throw away. But I'm not there yet. People think I'm organized and planned and prepared and everything. It's like, you give me a bit too much credit sometimes. On occasion. Now, this, because I've got my other colors, means that somewhere in here is my bottle labeled Cotton Ball. And anyone that was here earlier and recalls, Cotton Ball is what we were going to do the clouds on this one with. So, Cotton Ball. And music. Cotton Ball, not a bad name for a pet rabbit, at least if you had a white one. Oh. I'll say, and music, but I have killed off that playlist. So I am going to jabber at y'all for a few moments while I create another playlist. Let's see, what do we have for playlist options? We'll go with that one. We'll go with that one. Oh, that, of course, is a classic. Just kind of pick and choose a little of this, a little of that. And yeah, I'm sorry I get a little bit quiet when I'm doing this. I'm still here, I promise. I haven't abandoned you. 8 there, done for the day. See you at Latin. See you at Latin Swirl. Have a good evening. Wait, it's 8 there? It's 8 here too. Funny how that goes. Give us our Springsteen. Okay, that'll give us a few more, a little bit more of a playlist to do a little bit more work on the tile, and then we'll have to wrap it up.
That's what I'm talking about. This is our 3rd time coming back here for a sit down, huh? Pretty sweet. Yeah, they had to have us back because we still didn't take our stuff out of our rooms from the last time. Had to come back and get it. A lot of stuff was missing. See a lot of chasers in the house tonight for opening night. Yeah. All right, folks, we got a brand new show for you tonight. We got some new songs. We got some classics. We got something for everybody. This next song is going to be sung to you by Mike Luganville.
Oh, something I haven't gotten to doing with these bottles yet is a trick that I learned from those model paints, from the testers paints and everything for like the really small model figurines, being a I can't talk. I swear. I promise. I can't talk. Taking your you can take your paints and you can drop a couple of small ball bearings or a few BBs in there, something like that, to help with shaking it up for mixing. It's actually the same principle what spray paints do. I don't know what all of them have, but like Rust-Oleum, they take and they drop in a glass ball into the can, and that's what rattles around when you're shaking it up.
Please enjoy. When I look into your eyes, it's like watching the night sky or a beautiful sunrise. Well, there's so much they hold, and just like the old stars, I see that you've come so far to be right where you are. Oh, how old is your soul? Well, I won't give up. I'll give even if the sky I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up. And when you're needing your space to do some navigating, I'll be here patiently waiting to see what you find, to see what you find. 'Cause even if stars labor, some even fall to the earth, we got a lot to learn, and God knows we're worth it. No, I won't give up. I don't wanna be someone who walks away so easily. I'm here to stay and make the difference that I can make. Our differences, they do a lot to teach us how to use the tools and gifts we got. Yeah, we got a lot at stake. And in the end, you're still my friend. At least we didn't temper us to work. We didn't break, we didn't burn. We had to learn how to make without the world caving in. I had to learn what I got and what I'm not, and who I am. I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up. I'm still looking up. I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. Still looking
using certain fluid elements to mimic the notion of cloud elements and movements. I don't know how all the details of that are going to pan out yet, but you know, this is only the second day on these tiles. They have got time for the art to be finished. As I'm sure you all aware right now, I don't try to rush the detail work, so we have room to come back and mess with more of it as we go along. I think this was the next one. Losing track of what I'm doing at different points. We're about to add another layer. Actually, the planet has got enough layers to go on for right now. Want to give that more time to dry out. So we're going to take a little of that, mix with a little of that. Just mix a little bit of color on the edge of some of these. And see if I can't add just, oh, that's a little thick. I'm trying to add a little bit of more texture to the moon, but I need to spread the paint out a little bit so it's thinner and drier. Remembering that with the moons here, we are not trying to develop a certain texture to the surface. We're trying to let the coloration that results describe the... We're trying to go... results as causation, you could say. Trying to get it so that the outcome of it describes our picture rather than trying to paint towards a certain depth or detail result. Our story comes from the conclusion, not the story creating the conclusion. So the fact that we're giving it depth and light and shadow and everything, we're not going for a certain appearance. We're letting the appearance tell the tale instead of turning the tale into the appearance.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, and the dreams that you dream of once in a love Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dream of, dreams really do come true. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you'll find me. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. That you dare to, why can't I? Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you'll find me. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, and the dreams that you dare to, why can't I?
Hey, Hollins.
Kind of deep with Data Wasteland. I'm not always good with expressing a concept and everything. And what we're going for here is when it comes to those moons and everything, it's not a have a design a tale in mind, a story, and painting towards that description, towards that idea. We're letting the paints tell the story of the texture, the light and shadow. The story we're painting from the conclusion, not towards the description, if that makes any sense. It's a little tricky to describe when you're not the, most eloquent of people. But we're basically saying we've got two moons, so that's giving us part of the picture. That's giving us deep beaches, and it's one thing with the light over here, you're getting a lot of the color washed out. You see we have like a couple of cloud lines. I'm gonna have to do more detail on that when more of the picture is done. But when I cover it, you see a little bit of that discoloration, a little of the light and the shadow on the moon. Well, we're letting the paint create the light and shadow instead of saying, here's our light and shadow perspective. We're going to make the picture according to that. So it's kind of like taking a random picture. You're a mathematician, we forgive you. Exactly. But it's kind of like taking a picture and building a story based on the picture instead of making an illustration to match a story. It's just a painting equivalent of it. I look at the one, say this is definitely got to do a lot of drying before we do much more work with it. Kind of like the nebula picture. So take a look at this one real quickly. which is going to be maybe in its own way a little more bland. But I think I'm going to add some of that thinner, especially to like the sun and that. But this one with our, and you can see where the, you can kind of pick out at least the one constellation. You can kind of see over here where you might have some kind of a tree or mushroom cloud shape and everything. But we've got our bright obtuse triangle over here. We've got our Jack Gunsky constellation over there. So go ahead and start up the next round. Say the next piece of music. I'm going to take a look at this and look at my painting options. And this will be the last tile that we touch today. Ever hear the term happy accidents? Oh yes, I've got my Rob Boss on.
like a chicken fried. Cold beer on a Friday night, a pair of jeans that fit just right, and the radio. Well, I was raised up beneath the shade of a Georgia pine. That's home, you know, sweet tea, pecan pie, homemade wine, where the peaches grow. My house is not much to talk about, but it's filled with love that's grown inside the ground, and a little bit of chicken fried, a cold beer on a Friday night, a pair of jeans that fit just right, and the radio. I see sunrise, see the love in the woman's eyes, I feel such a precious child, no mother's love. Well, it's funny how it's the little things in life that mean the most, not where you live or what you drive or the price tag on your clothes. There's no dollar sign or a piece of mind, this I've come to know. So if you agree, have a drink with me, raise your glasses for toast to a little bit of chicken fried, a cold beer on a Friday night, a pair of jeans that fit just right, and the radio. I see sunrise, I see love in woman's eyes, I feel such a precious child, no mother's love. Thank God for my life, and for the stars and stripes, may freedom forever fly. Let it ring, salute the ones who died, and those who give their lives, so we don't have to sacrifice all the things we love, like our children, a cold beer on a Friday night, a pair of jeans that fit just right, and the radio. You don't like chicken fried, cold beer on a Friday night, a pair of jeans that fit just right, and the radio.
Okay, and with that, we are just going to be finishing out the last little, because these have got to have some time to dry, and then I will continue on with the next art stream. And of course, we got Lords of the Night coming up shortly, Ranting Monkey's channel in half an hour, Jack Gunsky tomorrow on his channel at 4 p.m. Eastern. He is going to have special because of Sunburst's birthday, and Scribe Light's going to be on, and he's invited, so I guess it's better judgment, he's invited me on too, so I mean, I guess there's no accounting for taste. Lords of the Night weekday, well, Monday through Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, yep, for Jack Gunsky. Monday through Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern for Lords of the Night on their alternating channels. Everybody streams somewhere, sometime, somehow, right? Frosted Glass, usually Thursday nights for The Corner, usually Friday nights for MSD 3K Nights, though not always. Not always. There's variance in there. And yeah, none of these planets are Earth, so. The Gunskinator. And I know I usually show a lot more people, and I'm just drawing blanks right now. Kyler's got work, so he's not going to be on tomorrow. Swirl Blue is uploading videos on the regular. They're pretty quick, short little things that have their own ability to be captivating, so it's always worth dropping over there and taking a look, even if, say, especially if you like old school games like Yahtzee, but she's doing some stuff on her Switch too. I do want to thank you all for stopping by. Gonna get started on cleaning my brushes. One more song as we're closing out. And then just remember, as always, it's not over till the laser cat purrs.
say